Top receiver ads for week 2 coming at you right now. Let's take a look at those wide receivers out there. Well, there's a couple good ones. I mean, when you look at Sterling Shepard right now, only 30.2% owned in ESPN leagues. Sterling Shepard, week 1, 9 targets, 7 receptions, 113 yards, touchdown. Damn good numbers. That's a guy that should be rostered in more than 30% leagues. Guess what? Coming out of training camp, everybody was saying Sterling Shepard's the best looking wide receiver, not Kenny Golladay. Sterling Shepard has the trust of Danny Dimes. Sterling Shepard plays in the slot, which also means he's not going to get the best corners, which means, guess what? Danny will throw to him. So, I mean, this guy is a guy that needs to be owned in more than 30% of leagues. He should be on rosters, and at the very least, he's in that wide receiver 3 flex territory. Moving on, Nelson Egler, I like a lot in New England. I like what they're going to do with them. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. Mac Jones is only going to get better, only more comfortable. I think he's going to be way more consistent in New England than he was in Las Vegas. I think this is a guy that you're going to eventually end up feeling like maybe I trust this guy being in my lineup as a flex or a bye-week fill-in. I like him a lot. It's hard to say because there's been a lot of trust issues with Nelson Agholor, but there's something about New England and reclamation projects, and Nelson Agholor fits that mold. Moving on, Christian Kirk. This guy, only five targets. This is where things are worrisome for me because the target distribution in Arizona was very even, and that's good from a real football standpoint. It's good for your offense, but for a fantasy standpoint, it makes for unpredictable play. You know, boom bust play. Well, why do you get boom bust plays? Because you get a guy that gets four receptions for 105 yards and a touchdown on 5 targets maybe. So that turns it like 5 targets, 5 receptions, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's not going to happen every week, but it's encouraging. And what really encourages me about Christian Kirk was the play of Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, for the first time to me, looked like a quarterback. He looked like an NFL quarterback for the first time that I've watched him play. There was a couple Russell Wilson-esque moments where instead of rushing, he bought himself time with his legs and made plays downfield. He looks more comfortable. This is his year 3 breakout. I like Kyler Murray, and having a piece of that offense that is a lot cheaper than a DeAndre Hopkins isn't too bad. And by being cheaper, I mean getting him off waivers is pretty good. And Fab, I'm not spending a lot on him, but I am intrigued, and I don't think you're going to have to spend a lot to get him. 3.6% owned in ESPN leagues. That's great. Jalen Rhaegar, maybe this is a post-hype sleeper. I know he had a lot of hype his rookie year. He totally bombed. Well, let's face it. Philly in general fucking bombed last year. Philly was fucking awful for fantasy last year. I know that Miles Sanders had moments, and Jalen Hurst had moments, and let's say Boston Scott had moments, but this passing attack was just fucking atrocious. Jalen Rhaegar looks good opposite Smith. He doesn't have to be the guy. Smith can be the guy. Jalen Rhaegar, 6 targets, 6 receptions. 6 targets is what I'm looking for. That's kind of like that line of demarcation. If you're getting about 6 targets a game, I'm going to feel okay for you being in that flex-worthy back-end wide receiver 3 territory. And then these last 2 guys, Rondale Moore has the talent, but the targets and the receptions, those are the issue for me. Just once again, he's the number 4 receiver in this offense. I don't know how many weeks he's going to be able to be this efficient. And I think he's a good speculative ad, but he's not somebody that I'm super interested in getting just because I think that there's just there's a lot of mouths to feed all of a sudden in Arizona. Rondale Moore's one of them. KJ Osborne is one of those guys that if you don't want to get him, I understand, but 9 targets is pretty good. I don't want to be a week 1 overreaction, but they were looking for a number 3 target in this passing game. He's fast. He had 7 receptions. He had 76 yards. He was efficient. He was somebody that maybe looks like they can rely on in Minnesota, and that's important. You need trust when you're talking about your pass catchers. And then we're looking at the kind of the Flyers. Van Jefferson is interesting. He looked really good on Sunday night, but 3 targets, 2 receptions, 80 yards, 1 touchdown. That's not enough for me, but it clearly looked like maybe a role will develop for him in this offense. But you know, we're also talking about a guy in Woods that didn't get fed. There were other pieces that are ahead of him in line, but the talent, finally, we saw why they took him in the 2nd round last year. He looked like a guy I want over Jackson. In Denver, they got to fill that Jerry Jeudy role. They were obviously feeding him. He was going to be the target hog. I don't think there's going to be a target hog in the sense of the way Jerry Jeudy was, but those targets are going to have to go somewhere. Some of them are going to go to Sutton, but I've said this before on this channel. I don't think Sutton really fits the play of Teddy Bridgewater. Sutton, to me, is a 50-50 jump guy. He's a guy that too much the opposite play style of what Teddy does. He likes those open receivers, short routes. Not to say, I'm not trying to say that Sutton's a bad route runner. He actually is a very good route runner, but I think you're going to find that KJ Hamler, a guy that's a little quicker in smaller spaces, is going to be a guy that maybe Teddy leans to throwing to more. In fact, when they announced Teddy Bridgewater as the starter at his press conference, he talked about 3 receivers, three on this roster. Talked about 3 of them. One of them, Jerry Jeudy, gone. All right. One of them, Noah Fant. He fed him. Like Noah Fant, you're looking at a true year 3 Noah Fant breakout on the way with Teddy Bridgewater under center. And then he talked about KJ Hamler. That was the 3rd one. He never mentioned Sutton. And it's sad to say, but I think he's going to like KJ Hamler. He was 1 reception away from a really big day, and I know we're talking about those targets. That's what I'm talking about on this last page. These guys are speculative ads or guys I'm putting mostly on my watch list, all right? These are watch list fodder right here, but KJ is the one that, to me, has the best chance that I would go out right now to have the bigger role right now. There is Jerry Jeudy's out for 4 to 6 weeks. There is a role for KJ to grow into. Same thing with Tim Patrick. We're talking about a guy for 4 receptions on 4 targets, 39 yards, touchdown. He's been nothing but clutch. Broncos put a 2nd round tender on him. I think I'm going to have to put him on my watch list as well. And honestly, he's a guy that I wouldn't mind putting on my roster. It's just sad to say, though, because there's too many Broncos. The Broncos cannot feed all these pass catchers, but right now, there's question marks. And so Tim Patrick, not a bad guy to have on your watch list or a speculative ad if you have a really deep bench, really deep, you're in 15, 16, or 14 to 16 team leagues. But KJ Hamler's the guy I think has the best path to more targets. All right, guys, that's the wide receivers. You know, I think there's some definite good prospects there. We'll update this list next week. We'll see what you guys get. If you liked what you heard, please like, share, subscribe. Every bit helps.